Today we would like to talk about love. Having already explored the reality of the true names of things, the fact that all the phenomena of existence, whether material objects or circumstances, or emotions, sensations, thoughts and desires, are flows, movements in continuous and constant transformation, that they are alive, we can then begin to approach the little pieces of the universe, the beings and experiences we encounter in an ever more intimate, ever deeper, ever more real way. Knowing that everything there is in eternal movement, is eternal movement, we can begin to communicate with life and its phenomena with respect for their ever-changing nature, freedom, and truth. And life and its phenomena will let us know their essences, their functions, what they are. Love is one of the most fundamental questions of existence. It is perhaps the solution to all the questions of existence. There has been, at least in modern Western society, an attempt to enclose love in a form closely related to suffering, disillusionment, and disappointment. So many so-called artistic expressions in film, literature, music, painting have used the word love to express one of its forms which, however, in this context is always incomplete, unsatisfactory, even empty. Love has been fated to end in suffering. We could say that it has been romanticized by imprisoning it in the form of a tension between two substances. It is very common for people's idea of love to be a relationship, an exchange between two beings. The relationship between a couple, between parents and children, between friends, between a human being and an animal, even between a person and an object or even a sensation, such as power, fame, or pleasure. And, to a certain extent, all relationships between two or more phenomena, even those that seem the opposite, are contained in or derived from love. But love, true love, agape for the Greeks, the Platonic love of the great philosopher, prema in Sanskrit, is an unconditional love, like the love of a mother who gives even her life and soul for her child. The fundamental difference is that the first form of love manifests itself as a tension between two or more poles. There is a relationship, a thought energy, a kind of invisible channel that forms between those involved in this form of love. And this relationship, this energy, has a quality and intensity that is dependent on an exchange, on responses between the poles. Naturally, when one of those involved moves, changes, and change is one of the irrevocable principles of life, the quality and intensity of the relationship channel also changes. The other elements will feel that something was altered, something that which usually leads to disappointed expectations, the action of defense mechanisms, and the pain and suffering of those who are taken by surprise. This form of love is called attachment, and very quickly turns into pathological rejection or attachment, sometimes even degrading into fear, anger, even hatred. This kind of tension turns participants into addicts, training them in the false need for a drug that will inevitably one day have to disappear. This kind of tension is conditional love, and therefore incomplete, unsustainable. It is not, it cannot be pure love. We are not saying by any means that this form of love doesn't have its uses and functions. We are not saying in any way that it should be repressed or avoided. Love, like all other energies of life, is something that develops gradually in a conscious human being. Affection is one of humanity's magical abilities. Even attachment and passion are necessary experiences, fundamental even, in the beginning and development of a relationship. They are the initial impulse of attraction, to care, to nurture, to help. And they are energies within which those involved learn to enter the world of a higher love. They are different stages of wholeness, of the truth of love. We should never underestimate. Indeed, it is essential to cultivate all the stages of love. The warmth and movement of the body, the sound of rain in the window, and the smell of wet earth, the embrace of a lover or a friend, the myriad shades of each of our emotions, the impact our service has on others, the medicine of a caring and supportive word, opening your eyes in the morning and realizing you're still alive, lying down at night, clutching your pillow and feeling your body relax. The continuous presence of people and animals, and plants and the sun and moon and stars that brighten the epic of our lives. Affection, passion, even attachment to small and big things are the small steps in the growth of a love that can become infinite until finally we fall in love with love itself. Words are very inadequate, but the problem, I would say, is not even the creation of attachment, but the inability that we have learned of what should be absolute attachment, followed by total letting go and absolute attachment to the next movement of life, again and again. The problem only arises when you start expecting to receive something in return. True love, pure love, the true name of love is not a relationship, is not a thought, is not an action. It is a state of being. And from that state of being, thoughts and actions can flow. It is initially experienced as a kind of subtle warmth, an invisible radiation within the chest, sometimes spreading to the arms and hands, and is accompanied by well-being, calm, and peace. When it develops, it becomes like a continuous wave in all directions, independent, self-confident, self-sacrificing. It is a radiation. It is pure receptivity in continuous expansion, and it can become so deep and subtle, so intense and powerful, that we know with every atom of our being that it is invulnerable, that it is unstoppable. In the highest human experience, true love is a continuous flow of dissolution in life, regardless of whether there is anyone or anything else present. True love exists by itself. It touches and embraces and makes beautiful, true, elevated and good everything that passes into its embrace. And even when nothing is there, love continues to radiate. Sri Yukteswar Giri, an enlightened yogi from India, describes it, according to Hindu philosophy, in a wonderfully simple way. There is only one truth, being, the one universal being, which manifests the universe, polarizing itself into omnipotent power, intention, Shakti, Ananda, which generates existence by repulsion, and into omniscient consciousness, universal love, Brahman, Chit, which sees, which knows everything by attraction. We hear and read that God is love, but it is love that is God. Love is life itself. Let's note that the pure original energy of existence, therefore without problems, without contradictions or confusions, sacrifices itself, gives itself, allows itself to densify by degrees over time in all the phenomena we know as the world, so that we can experience our individual form and flow. Isn't this the supreme sacrifice? You are probably wondering, doubting, if love is so powerful, if love is life itself, why don't I feel it? Why don't I feel it all the time? Well, love is the total absence of violence, the complete opposite of coercion. It will never force itself on you. It will never force you to feel it. And human beings, together with their lives, are also given the irrevocable power to choose, seeing or ignoring, to accept or to reject, to flow in harmony or to resist, to open up to the here and now, or to close yourself down in the confusion of a mind buried in conditioned preferences. This power of choice is yours, and nothing and no one can take it away from you unless you let them. And if you let them, you're still the one taking it away from yourself. It is not easy, of course, because of the discomfort of surrendering all the identity we have accumulated, cultivated, and defended for so long, investing all our energy, all our minds, all our hearts, all our bodies into it. It's difficult because it feels like dying. But isn't it a lot more difficult to have no love? To live without being joyful for being alive? Could we even call that life? This is why all the sages say that the majority of mankind lies in the slumber of sleep, not fully awake, not fully alive. And love is simple. It is so simple. It's about patiently, gently, consciously, fearlessly, seeing, embracing, and letting go of all contradiction, all struggle, all resistance towards life. We've been taught to fight, quarrel, create tension, resist. Isn't it sheer madness to try to contradict an supposedly infinite universe? The here and now that has been cooking for 13.6 billion years. The work of countless stars, planets, atoms, forces, and beings. A wave doesn't taste good when we fight it and wrestle with it. A wave tastes like bliss when we flow with it and navigate it. Love is felt naturally effortlessly, to the exact extent that life is not resisted. The infinite wave of love is there always, everywhere, surrounding you, inside you, just waiting with infinite patience for you to just open the door, and it will flood you and hug you and take you and dissolve you. Just contemplate for a moment the liberation and bliss that would be to sail the wave that is the totality of existence. Doesn't it seem to be worth the surrender and death of your painful and crazy egotism? For some thinkers, the fact that loving is something that always makes the one who loves feel good seems to contradict the concept of altruism. But that is just crazy. There is no contradiction, because even as Elizabeth H. said, love can always be selfish. It all depends on how much of existence you include in your sense of self. And this is what the path of the human being on earth is all about. And this is what the conscious, spiritual path is all about. Accelerating, deepening, making into a science and an art the inclusion of each and every part of life in the sense of I am. We suggest this very simple but tremendously powerful practice. Spend a few minutes every day for at least 21 days, setting the intention to radiate love to love itself, without any tension, force, without violence, just with gentleness and patience. Simply practice the intention of giving love to love, and just see what happens. Remember, true love is life itself, is consciousness itself. True love is the movement of seeing, accepting, and letting be.